Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So it's the beginning of October, the first Saturday in a brand new month, which means it's also mission inspiration time. But I'm also kicking off this first video in my 7 days of Halloween series. So it's time to have a play with some prompts, but for this month I've done 2 sets because I know there are some people out there that don't like to play along with Halloween. So I've taken those into consideration too. So, ready for October's mission inspiration. So I've got another page, watercolour paper, watercolour cardstock, 300 GSM or 140 pound weight, cut to size for my mission inspiration journal, and I've printed off the mission inscreamation prompts for October. This is version 1. If you're not into the whole Halloween thing, then there is a second version for October. The steps are all the same, but the colour choices, the colour scheme, and the words for inspiration are totally different. So there are 2 versions for October. One for those people that like to get into the Halloween spirit, literally, and another one for those that don't. I'm going to be doing the one with the Halloween themed prompts for this month. I may do the other one later in the month, who knows. So first of all, I'm going to just have a look at the colour scheme. So we've got lime, plum and marmalade, which are some great Halloween colours. So for that I've got lime from Dina Wakley Media. I've also got blackberry, which is similar kind of plumish colour, and I've got tangerine, which I'm going to be using for the pumpkin colour. So those paints I've already got out ready to start doing. So I'm going to put my journal to one side. This is where I keep all of my mission inspirations that have been done for this year. So that's the 2018 journal, and I've got my prompts, and I'm just going to prop up to one side so I've got them on hand whenever I need them. So to begin then, we've got first step, which is to apply washes of colour or gesso. So I'm going to take one of the lighter colours to start off with. I'm going to start off with the lime colour, and I'm going to just pop some of that paint onto a little polypropylene mat that I have that I've been using as a palette. See, it's all dirty. And I've also got some clear gesso. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a base coat down of clear gesso first, and then I'm going to use the green to add that wash on. So I'm just going to open up that gesso, take it straight from the pot. I've got a brush which I've had softening in a little bit of water just for the last half hour or so. And I'm just going to give the page a little bit of a wipe over. Now there's 2 sides to this paper. One's got a texture and one hasn't. So I'm actually going to use the side that doesn't have the texture today. So I'm just going to randomly, just quickly go over the page just to give it a bit of a base coat. That's going to help my first colour wash blend and move on the page. So it prepares the paper to accept the paint and allows you to manoeuvre it. So I'm not going to go right up to the edges of the page. I'm just going to leave a little bit of a border all the way around. That should do. And then I'll just give it a quick blast, get that gesso nice and dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, so my gesso is now dry on the page. I've added a little bit of that lime green paint just onto my polypropylene mat so I can add some water to it. It doesn't want to play. That's more like it. I need some more water. Let's use my bigger water bottle. There we go. Go big or go home. That's the thing. Right. So I'll grab my brush that I just had the gesso on. Just give it a quick dry, and then I can just start to mix up the paint with that water just to get it all nice, fluid and loose, and then apply that wash of fabulous Halloweeny lime green all the way across the page. And because we've gessoed, it works really, really nicely. So that's going to be my base colour for the page. Just taper it off towards the edges. Nice bit of colour wash all the way across the page. So I'll drop my brush in the water, need to get this dry, and I'll be right back. So that's step number 1 done, and that's all nice and dry. So step number 2 is to stamp all over your page. Now to do that, I'm going to use this stamp set from Indigo Blue. This is a new release stamp set. It was only released at the back end of September, and I'm going to use this stamp, which is a great kind of bordery kind of stamp, but I'm also going to use these dripping cobwebs as well. So I've got some tree branch archival ink, because I don't want to do them in black, and I've just attached one of them to my Dilutions stamp block, because I don't have a stamp block big enough to fit this on. It's rather a large stamp set, so I'm going to just ink that up. A bit dropsy today. And I'm going to stamp that across the top of the page. I'm not bothered if I go just slightly off, and just stamp down. I know it says all over, but you don't necessarily have to go all over if you don't want to. I'm also going to do the bottom. And all I'm going to do is just turn the page around. Actually, I didn't need to turn the page around, did I? Duh. Because I can just turn the stamp around. And then I can line that up with the bottom of the page as well. Stamp that down. I'm using the archival ink because I know it's going to be permanent when dry. So I'm going to take that stamp off and then bring out the other border like so, and then I can ink that one up as well. Although this is supposed to be a kind of Halloween-y stamp set, I think this particular stamp can be used for a lot more than just Halloween. It's a great kind of grungy one. Now that swirl of barbed wire is also separate there as a separate stamp, which is cool in itself. So let's just turn that stamp back around again, and then I can take that to the edge and drop it down. And I've taken this right up to the edge. You see how that's got a really nice kind of grungy feel to it. And then I'm going to stamp it again from this side. So I'm creating a really nice kind of border all the way around the page. But let's just turn it that way, and then I can maybe line it up a bit better on this side. Just like that. That creates a really nice frame effect all the way around the page. Love that as a basis to get started. So I'll just pop those back onto the laminate. That's ready for storing nice and neatly. And then we can move on to step number 3. So step number 3, we have make marks with fingers or found items. So I've had a look in I've got a drawer in my drawing set that I keep found items or mark making stuff. So the ever popular bubble wrap. I've got a tube that I had a pricking tool, a pokey tool in. This was a Stampin' Up one, and I've never thrown away the package because I thought that small circle is ideal for making marks. I've also got a larger circle from a lid. I think this was from a a spritz bottle or something. I've also got an old banker's card, ATM card, but I've also got one of these catalyst mark makers, and it's got points on it, so that's going to give me some really nice kind of dots if I add some paint to it. So what I've got, I'm going to use some of the orange to start off with. I'm going to start building up some marks for the background, and I'm just going to add some paint onto this little mat. Let's see if I've got a small brush that I can just use to manipulate it. There we go. Come on. And then just create a little bit of space for me to be able to move and add some paint in. So pick up and we can start adding in some nice marks into the background. Because they're only going to be in the background, they don't need to be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to take the credit card and just run that through the paint, get a little bit on the edges, and then we can start to add in some of those orangey lines too. So I'll do one colour at a time. Just light touches, just to add a little bit of extra texture into the background. I'm not particularly 100% bothered. There's no real kind of trick to this or accuracy that's going or being involved in it. I'm literally just dabbing and building up. With no real plan. Yes, like that. Okay, so next I'm going to grab a bit of paint on that brush and then just add a little bit to the bubble wrap, and then we're going to get some different kind of textures coming in to the pattern over there, just in that background. And then we'll do another one just over here. Actually, I think we'll probably just do one more down at the bottom. There we go. Liking that. Okay, I want to get the orange layer nice and dry, so bring up the heat gun and then I'll be right back once I've got everything bone dry. Bone dry. Do you get it? Halloween bones. Okay, so that orange layer is now dry, so I want to bring in some of that purple. So I'm pretty much going to do the same thing. I'm just going to add some of the purple to the mat. Grab the brush. Actually, I should have washed the brush, which I didn't do, so I'll just give it a quick rinse in my water pot. And then we can just add a little bit of water, not a lot. There we go. This is going to make it a tad more fluid to use. And then again, I'm going to bring back that bubble wrap. I love adding marks like this into the project. Just literally lift it up. A little bit too much on there. Just add a little bit of darkness into the background. Don't want a huge amount, just nice and light touches. Of course, if we get too many on, we can always add a little bit more green into the background too. So I'm going to take that larger lid and just add some of those larger circles, just lightly into the pattern. And then just kind of integrate, just light touches, kind of link and join. There we go. Happy with that on that one. I don't know whether the camera makes it look a little bit darker than it actually is, but I'm liking it. Okay, so everything is now nice and dry. So I'm going to just quickly just jump in with these prompts again now. So the next step is to add a focal image or two. Occasionally I switch around the order of these prompts, which you can do. You can do them whatever order you really want to. Sometimes, if you've got an idea in your head that you need to add something to the page, but it would be better if it was a little bit earlier in the stages, then do it. These are only here to inspire you to create something. How you actually do it is pretty much down to you. So if you want to swap around some of these prompts, then please do. So for me, the one that I want to do next is this one. Is step number 6, glue fabric fragments. Now if I'd done this at stage 6, once I'd already added the focal image, I'd be putting these on top of the focal image, but I want to do it the other way around. Again, scraping paint onto the page would look better if I'd scraped the page over some of the fabric fragments, as you'll see, before I then add the focal image. So I'm actually going to swap those two around. So 4 and 6 I'm going to swap around. So the fabric fragments that I've got are from a sheet. It's a burlap sheet that's backed in card, as you can see. And what I've done is I've just taken a pair of scissors and I've cut some strips that I want to use just down here in the background. And I'm going to do them around about there. So I'm going to glue them down with some some white spirit glue, because I've got a little bit of manoeuvrability. I'm actually just looking at this now thinking perhaps that one's a bit too thick there, so let's just trim that a little bit thinner. And actually I think I might swap it for that one. So we've just got 3 thinner strips down here. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that a little bit better. So I've got my spirit glue. Because it's paper backed, it's going to make it a lot easier to add the glue to it. Just add a little bit more down there. I'm probably doing this off camera, I think. There you go. I'm not cheating. Not really. There we go. And it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. Yeah. That's it. And then I'll do this one. Doesn't need a lot of glue on it. A bit fiddly to pick up. There we go. About there, and then I can glue this one down. I'm not getting any frayed edges with this either, so if I just used ordinary burlap or hessian, I'd have those little frayed edges as well, which would be nice, but not 100% brilliant, or necessary I should say. There we go. So I just need to give that a few seconds just to set. So I shall do that, leave it to set for a few seconds, go make a cup of tea, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I think they've had long enough to pretty much grab onto the paper now. So that was the bit of spare that I had. I did have a think about maybe adding it to the top of the page there, just to creating that kind of frame on it, but I've changed my mind. So that's going in the bin. So I'm now need to start and look at step number 5, which is to drag or scrape paint onto your page. So to do that, I'm going to bring back the green. I'm just going to take a little bit of that green, and I have a spatula. I'm just going to take some of the green from the spatula, and I'm just going to drag it down. You see why I wanted to add the fabric first. Because it's giving me a nice little bit of an edge to catch with the paint. So start with the green. And it also helps just to knock back some of that purple if it's a little bit too strong for you. And then just grab some of the orange, and this time I'm going to use that credit card that'll do. Just grunge up that background a little bit more. Okay, so just added paint, so just need to add some heat just to get it all dry, and then I'll be back. Okay, so most of that paint is now dry, but I'm looking at the page and I'm thinking to myself, it really needs some more black in there. So what I'm going to do, for a change, is I'm actually going to bring back that stamp set that we had earlier, that cobweb one, and I've got some jet black archival ink, and I'm just going to ink up, and I want to add a layer probably just over where we had it before, just to darken it up. I'm being very careful. So now I've got a kind of like a, I know I'm just slightly off where I placed it before, but I don't mind that. And I'm going to also do it down the sides as well now. I won't be able to do it across the bottom because I've got that texture now. It's going to stop me from stamping. But I think if I now go over the top of this, I'm going to get a little bit more of a Halloween-y feel. If it does go over a little bit of the burlap, that's okay. If I squeeze down hard enough, I know it's going to leave a gap, but there we go. I'm liking that now. It's sufficiently grungy enough at the top and busy enough at the top. That's more like the vision I had in my head for what I wanted to do for this page. Okay, so let's go back onto the next step. So we swapped around prompts 4 and 6, so I've already glued the fabric fragments down, so now it's time to add a focal image or two. Okay, so focal images I've got are these. Fabulous Halloween images. Now this was purchased from a store on Etsy, and it was all the individual pieces, and I've collaged them together into one in my photo manipulation software, my Adobe Photoshop, to create the collage image that I've printed off that you can see here. Let's just, there you go, you can probably see it better. And I'll put on screen now the website that I actually bought these from, in case you want to go off and also purchase these as well. Not owned by me. This is from somebody completely random that I just found on Etsy, but because I love them so much, I'm going to share them with you. Not for free, obviously. And I'll put a link in the description below of the Etsy site that I got this from. This lady, Kirsty, I think she's called, has lots more other stuff, and there's steampunk stuff there. There's absolutely loads and loads of fantastic images. I'm in no way affiliated with her. I just found these today and thought they were absolutely fantastic, so I just wanted to show you and share the link because I think she deserves some love. Anyway, it's in the description below as well. So that was the website. I'm now going to glue these down onto my art journal page, and I'm just going to use the same spirit glue that I used previously, and I'm just going to quickly go around the edges. I did print more than one off, which is why you can see some patterns on the back of this one. I printed one set and it wasn't light enough, it was too dark. It was one of the settings on my printer that I hadn't quite got right, so I did it twice. Okay, so that should be enough. Should be enough glue there, and I'm going to do it so the cat is actually sitting on the burlap. That should do me. And then I'm going to do my pumpkin pile. And that can sit up there like so. Love it. I love these images. I will definitely be going back and purchasing some more because, like I said, there was some fantastic steampunky sets, and there was one other Halloween set that I think I just have to own. Make sure that's all glued down. Cool. I'm going to leave that for a second or two, let the glue dry, and then I'll be right back. On 5, 4. Okay, so that's had sufficiently long enough, I think, to grab and hold down. So I'm now going to look at step number 7, which is to stitch, sew, or staple. So if you have one of those fantastic sewing machines, you could maybe go around the edges, doing a really kind of decorative border on it, or if you want to prick by hand. Personally, I can't do any of that because I'm useless. But I do have a stapler, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go around and add staples all around as a border for no other reason than I've never done it before. And who's to say you can't utilise metallic embellishments to create a border? And staples are a great way to add embellishments onto your page. Makes them a bit heavier, but it's stitching with metal. So they just pick out on the edges. And if you wanted to, you could just add a few decorative ones into the corners. Just to finish off. Which actually, when you look at step number 8, add metallic accents or highlights, I've kind of done that anyway. Duh. But for the sake of this, I'm going to grab some paint, and I think I'm going to use some gold. And I'm just going to shake some onto my lid. So I've got a little bit, grab a cosmetic sponge, a little tiny little bit of a sponge. I've got my little plastic doodad that I had. Add some of that paint. I don't know why I grabbed a sponge, I thought I was going to be stenciling, but I'm not. Duh. Brain's having a freeze moment. I want that gold circle thing back. And I can just go around then, adding in some gold bubbles. Which you won't see immediately. It's only when you pick it up, or pick the journal page up, and then twist it and turn it into the light that you'll actually see them. I don't particularly want to go over or touch my collage image, but there we go. Can't really see the gold while it's still wet, so grab the rest of that, and then I'm going to just lightly go around and add some of that gold paint on the border, create a little bit of a frame. That just warms up the edges a little bit. Okay, hope I've not smudged that paint from the circles. I shall just give that a quick blast. So I've just reviewed the footage that I've recorded whilst doing the art journal page, and I've just found that the last few minutes where I stuck my quote down is missing. So either I've forgotten to press record or it's gone corrupt on the card. So I've added a quote. And the only thing that I did with this was I just printed off a quote on the computer and then just tore it out of some printer paper. Rather than cutting it in straight lines, I actually tore it because I wanted those rough edges. And I just went over with a cosmetic sponge and used some old paper distressing. And literally I just grunged up the paper just to take away that white stark line. And of course that was the last part of the mission inspiration. So I used all 3 colours, I did all 8 steps, but I switched over step 6 and step number 4. But what I didn't do was use any of the words for inspiration, apart from incorporating cobwebs into the design of the page. So I think that was mission accomplished. Now don't forget, if you like playing along with the mission inspiration challenges each month but don't like to do Halloween, there is a second version that you can find on the Mission Inspiration Facebook group. The link to it is on screen right this very second, and there's also a link to it in the description area below. And I've chosen a more of a pastel colour palette for those people that don't want to do Halloween. So you've got 2 choices. Or if you go to my YouTube channel, you can also find both the Mission Inspiration video prompts for October on there also. So that's all from me for now. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And also, if you haven't joined the Mission Inspiration Facebook group yet, then follow that link in the description area below. We'd love to see you. That's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.